Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time you're watching this. Welcome to the premiere show of the Three Wise question mark men. Right now we have two. We're waiting on the third. You got lost at Damascus, I think. I'm the host, kind of, sort of. Call me that, Captain J. This is Mitchell Wiseman question mark.
Hello.
Doesn't quite know what his name is. Just going with the theme. Going with the theme. We're just waiting on Jared, who's our third. He'll be here shortly. He just messaged me saying he's on his way in. When he gets here, we'll bring him on in. So we're just going to do a little show here. It's basically just going to be sharing our testimony. I kind of got the idea based on a lyrics from a song, which has the lyrics are "Look what God did." 4 words. It's basically telling, sharing. We can share our testimony of all different backgrounds and everything like that, and where we've come from, knowing that God's been involved in all of that for everybody here. Just so you know, if you're watching, we are live here on Facebook. I'm on my personal page, Jared's personal page, and we are on Quake RYC Productions YouTube page. So there's 3 locations we are there. We'll be getting that shared out a little bit more. Eventually, we'll let Mitchell know how to get it so he can share it to his page, so his fan base can watch. He's got thousands of people that watch him. Usually governmental, but we don't talk about that. We'll start here real quick. Just tell us a little bit about who you are, Mitchell, where you're from, what you do, if you want to, anything like that. And then basically say that, like, look what God did. Kind of concept of testimony in that aspect. Similar to Monday night.
Well, if my internet stays active, that is. My name's Mitchell Houston, or Mitchell Wiseman, whatever you feel like. And I was born and raised here in Burlington, Iowa. I love this state. I love how friendly people are. I love how caring, and it's part of the reasons that I kind of feel blessed to even live here. It's the atmosphere is a lot different from me, and I've heard the complaints about the Midwest, the weather, but I enjoy here. I feel blessed to be here, and if it wasn't for where I'm placed, I probably wouldn't have been safe. My grandma Sawyer and my mom and my dad and just the people that I love dearly are part of the reasons that I was saved. My mom and grandma used to take me to the church, someplace up in Fort Madison. I can't remember it, but I still remember the red cloth pews, the wooden backsides to them. I still remember the red and blue Bibles. And I mean, every time I close my eyes, I can just picture it just so clearly in my mind. And it tells me that it's pretty imprinted there, because one of my fondest memories of that church is that one day about 5 or 6, and we were praying, and we always put our heads down as a show of respect. And I heard somebody's footsteps go by, and I lift my head up just for a peek, and I asked my grandma, "Is that Jesus? Is that the guy we're praying to?" And she looks up and gives a little laugh, and she says, "No, that's not Jesus. That's the preacher." And from there, it kind of blossomed into, like, I have all these questions. I want to know more about this Jesus fellow. Who is he? What did he? Why is he? Why are we praying to him? And my uncle was the one that always gave a Bible study, because he used to be the head of the Bible study of that church. And he would always just so thoughtfully plan out every Bible study that I couldn't help but have more questions, like the story of Jonah and the whale and Noah's Ark. Typical Sunday school questions, and it just kept blossoming until finally, when I became about a teenager, I had wandered away, and there was no particular reason. It wasn't because I was angry at anyone or the world or the situation, but I just wandered away, and I stopped asking questions. But around the age of 19, I was at a restaurant and I was eating with my grandparents, and I remember like a little voice in my head saying, I was like, why don't you give this faith thing a try? Why don't you give this God thing a try? And I was like, okay, okay. So I talked to my uncle and I asked if I could be baptized at that church. And he said, yeah. Of course, they ran me through a bunch of questions. They really wanted to make sure that I was certain that that's what I wanted, that I wanted to be saved. They wanted to impose on me that it's a lifestyle, it's a life change. And
Mm-hmm.
so about a week later, after being prepared and asked all these questions, I was baptized, and I still remember having my head lifted from the water by the pastor after being dunked in, and the lights seemed brighter,
Yeah.
so much brighter to me, and I felt so much lighter that day. Uh, since then, it's been relatively a relative roller coaster of just experience after experience and lesson after lesson, and through it all, I mean, I've come out, I feel better for it. Like the loss of my grandfather, it shook me, but I knew that I would see him again. If I didn't
Mm-hmm.
wasn't saved, I lost my grandfather, I would have been broken.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because my grandparents were the ones that raised me. My parents were always working. Somebody had to keep an eye on us.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what they did. They took up that responsibility, and it's like God was just there for me through it all, even whether I knew it or not. And He strengthened me through some of these lessons. He gave me two churches to be a part of. Heck, hey, He gave me a job where I met you, and now we're doing a podcast here. I mean, He's just opened up avenue after avenue, not only to serve His will, but just to get me out there. I used to be a wallflower.
I know
Didn't
that
even
feeling.
think about, yeah, I didn't even think about like putting myself out there, and it's just like He slowly does this. He doesn't just do it all at once. He plants a seed and He just slowly nurtures it. And He's like, and it started by Him just saying, "Hey, go say hi to that random person you don't know. Go
Mm-hmm.
tell a joke to that person," and it just escalated from there.
Yeah.
Eventually, one of the people I call one of my greatest teachers, Pastor Paul at the Bethany Lutheran here, he taught me so much. He Because I had so many questions about the Bible and so many things like why didn't it seem to add up, and he told me it's because it's a living Bible. It was written by people at that
Mm-hmm.
time, and you have to understand the time they're living in to understand what they're getting at. And
Yeah.
he just opened the door for me to have this flood of wanting to know more about that region, about that history, and how everything was affected by it. And I have to say, I am so amazed by just how God planted one simple seed in my life and it just blossomed to all these different avenues and just different things. I mean, I'm a different person from what I was. I
Mm-hmm.
I was a typical kid with a chip on my shoulder and an attitude towards things for no reason, and I knew it all. And now I'll gladly say I don't know anything just so I can learn more. I I am so thankful for what
Yeah.
God has given me. So that's kind of my testimony. Long winded, a little bit dramatic, but that's mine. You know.
Yeah. Oh, not horrible. Not horrible. And like I said, you were no the wallflower, and how he took you from. When I get to mine, I was the quiet guy. Um, so I get that completely too. In that aspect. I mean, I've definitely been there. Um, yeah, it's amazing how he took you from where you were to where you're at, and you see how everything kind of falls into place. That's what
Oh yeah.
it's amazing. It's like, how'd that happen? Oh, this kid here, and then it just landed. You're like that. Oh, no, he's just turning the page. Sometimes you're just like, oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, just
And
so
it's
I
so
appreciate.
amazing how he takes that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hmm?
So go ahead.
It's so amazing. it's so amazing how he took this impatient child, and I'm still a bit impatient. And he told me he showed me how patience can cultivate really good things in our lives if we just wait for him to unfold them for us.
Mm-hmm.
How he just changes the heart and character, which from our heart and our minds comes everything else we do, and it just changed everything about it for me. I mean, I used to complain about work, and now I have a job that I hear people complain about, but I love it. I love what we do. I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
it's not.
enjoyable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not a bad job. It's not a bad gig. Not at all.
it is not.
Okay, so our third wise man has arrived here. He's backstage, so I will go ahead and bring him on in. So get ready for the fury and the fire of Mr. Jared, Mr. Coon Hunters. Here he comes on in, and there he is.
Hey, look. So look, Jason wanted me to get a silly picture. Well, I just took and posted a silly picture a few minutes ago.
So we'll have to add that in. This is Mr. Jared. This is Mitchell.
What's going on? How
Yeah,
you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's cool. Cool testimony for what I got to hear. I'm late.
Yeah,
I even
we
made
got
it late
lots
for
of
you. So, do you have any questions, Jared? Did you hear anything? You heard as part of his testimony. Do you have any questions for him at all?
I hate I missed the first part. Golly, I wasn't supposed to be late.
You're
I'm
fine.
slipping.
You're good. You're good.
Um, so music artist, right?
No,
Okay.
no. I don't think
Okay.
you're. No, I work. We work together.
Okay. Awesome. That's cool.
Co-worker.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. So,
So what all? So what all do y'all do for a living exactly?
I don't know if it's a living, but
we're
It's
we're
something. It's better than nothing. I guess
we're
you.
basically always in Halloween costumes. We act as security guards, but we are
Ah,
actually not.
yeah, yeah. We work at the
rent a
casino.
cop.
Yeah. But basically, I said,
Pretty much.
yeah. So he had shared his testimony there. Basically, I said we're going to do a little. The show's going to be based on just us right now sharing our testimony kind of deal. Basically, the gist of the show is, look what God did, how He brought us together on this, how He brought you from where you were to where you're today, and you, Jared, do have your ministry there as well. So you can share a little bit about that. But basically, just share your testimony about how you found Christ, and then also how you started your ministry, that kind of stuff.
So how many people we got watching?
1, 2.
Dang. Okay. So that one person. What?
You haven't started sharing it yet. That's the problem.
Yeah. So
You're the sharer.
everybody needs to share this because we need 30 people in here. We need people to actually hear our testimonies. You know what I'm saying? We need people to go to quakeradio.com. We need people to listen to Quake Radio on Live 365. I mean, I could go on and on about that.
Appreciate it.
So, when I got saved, I guess per se, I don't remember when. I don't remember the date. None of that kind of stuff. I just remember being little, and I remember asking God to save me, long, long time ago. And then, of course, going through high school and college, got lost. Didn't really. I mean, I went to church, but didn't really. Wasn't really was in tune to God like I am now. And then, let's see, 2018, I think it was. My best friend Matt and I started Coon Hunters Outdoors Ministries, and he's helped me a little bit with it, which is cool. Thank you for the help. And so basically, I teach people about coon hunting and tell them about Jesus, the 1-2 punch, and so yeah, that's basically. And then like I try to tell everybody I can about Jesus, and then I set up at hunting events, set up a ministry booth. I sell T-shirts, decals, that kind of thing, and then pass out witnessing tracts to people. And then I got some wooden crosses I make, my handmade that I sell to help my ministry, and then that kind of thing. And then, of course, I'm the marketing director for Quake Radio, which is cool. And then I just got another cool deal to help with my towards the ministry is I just got on as an announcer at a local racetrack that I go to, a dirt track, and it's called Tri. It's pretty cool. It's called Tri County Speedway, and this is our tickets for a big weekend race. But I just started as the announcer last race, which is cool. I'm thankful they gave me the opportunity, and the Day family is who owns the track. Miss Marilyn Day and her husband Chuck Day own it, and then all their sons and family work there and race there. And so Isaiah, her son, reached out to me and said, "Hey, how would you like to be an announcer at our racetrack?" And I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." Because I've been praying for changes with job situation, whole 9 yards, and I was praying and praying, and boom, God dropped this in front of me and said, "Here you go." And Isaiah asked me, "Did I want to be the announcer?" And I couldn't turn it down. This is the second time he's asked me, and I told him, I said, "Sure." So the guy I'm replacing, pretty cool story about him. I don't know him that well, but I do know he's a pastor, which is cool. And so that was neat to have a pastor as the announcer. And now they got me announcing, and he liked my racing videos that I did so much. I would always announce on my videos, and then he liked what a good job I did with that. And he said, "Well, hey, I think you'd be a great fit as an announcer." So not only do I get to get on a microphone and tell funny jokes, whatever, tell people about the races, I tell them about Jesus too. So that's cool. And the back of these tickets I just got today for our big weekend race, we got a two-day race this weekend. I'm gonna read the back of these tickets. So another cool thing about how awesome God works is the Day family are Christians. So it's in Flomaton, Alabama, which is an hour and 20 minutes from me. And one cool thing about the Days being Christians is on all their wristbands you get when you buy a ticket. They have a Bible verse on all the wristbands. They have Bible verses all over their Facebook and stuff. And then on the back of this card here, let's see if I can put it up to the camera. Probably can't read it because it's backwards, but it's two checkered flags, and it says 1 Corinthians. You know what? Let me turn my camera around. You can read this with me. Let's see. Settings. Camera. Facing back. Okay.
There we go.
So this is 1 Corinthians 15:57. But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Christ Jesus. It's kind of blurry, but that's cool though that they put that. They put that on the back of their card. So anybody that's on my okay. So anybody that's on my friends list or anybody that knows me, hit me up with some free tickets, and you get that cool Bible verse to go with it.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Is that he's
All
our
right.
marketing director, all that. Share.
Yeah, share. Look, we need people to share because what's the point in three of us talking if nobody's listening?
Hey,
So
we got
everybody share.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. One person. What now?
Yeah, they may watch this later.
Hey, there you go. That's look.
Yeah.
What there's a saying I always say: positive thoughts equal positive results. Negative thoughts equal negative results. So we're P for positive over here.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Bible was written how many years ago, and we're still talking
Yeah,
about it today.
there you go. I like that attitude.
Yeah.
So everybody share.
Exactly.
Now they're gonna have to hear my story. Oh God,
Oh yes.
nobody wants to hear that.
Oh shoot, man, tell your
I want
story.
to hear it.
Preach to us.
Jared knows about it. Mitchell, I don't think you know that much about it, so this might be your first occurrence. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. Let's see, what time is it? How much time we got? It is 8:53, so we got a half an hour. I should be able to get it in that time. No, just kidding. I was
Well, you
born
see,
back.
it started.
I was born back in the 1900s, turn of the century. No,
Back
I
when
was
you was a wee little lad.
a wee little lad. I was actually thinking that, but I didn't want to say that. I was born and raised, I say Jewish, and emphasis on the ish. So we were culturally Jewish. We ate Jewish food, that kind of stuff. We celebrated Hanukkah eventually just a 1 day thing. It's an 8-day holiday. We cut it down to 1 day because you just didn't want to spend 8 days doing it. Never went to synagogue, never went to the high holidays, nothing like that. My dad basically ended up becoming more atheist than anything. So I kind of was growing up that way. Christians I didn't like at all because I was always told I was going to hell since I didn't believe. And I was told that we are the ones that killed Christ. So I mean, why would I want to become a Christian? So that was up through high school in that time frame. But similar to you, Mitchell, I was the wallflower. I was the quiet kid. I had a teacher to call me her Mr. Quiet in my yearbook. I have proof of it. So I was a quiet kid. Now I'm here on a radio station doing shows, all this kind of stuff. But I said I was atheist for a long, long time. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe anything like that at all. Fast forward, I met my wife. She's into the faith a little bit at the time. She was raised Presbyterian, and I was like, we got married. I didn't want to get married in a church. I thought I was going to catch fire if I stepped in a church. So we got married at my parents' basement. We had a nice full basement. We did down there, and but we still did Jewish culture stuff in our wedding, and we did mix also with some Christian stuff. Respect for both faith levels there. So I wasn't culturally Jewish, but not religiously Jewish, but still atheist at that point. That was 2001. 2003, June 19th is when my dad passed away. He had a couple days before he was put into the hospital. I made it from my house to the hospital in 4 minutes. It's normally a 15-minute ride. I was just going fast. It was 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. 3 days later, about 3 days later, he was gone. So I was angry. I mean, I spent every chance I had to go to the cemetery in Chicago to go visit. Not sure what I was visiting, because I know he wasn't there. But I did have a couple of times where I asked for proof that my father was there. And then, have you ever been in a place where it's really dead quiet? Literally, it's a cemetery, quiet, and a wind comes through, and you hear that whoosh sound. And it happened 2 or 3 times, and then it just stopped. I asked for. I didn't know I was praying. I was just angry, but I was asking for proof that he was there. Well, God would show me he was there. I didn't know that at that time because that was 2003. But I was like, if I'm angry at someone, who am I going to be angry at? If I'm angry at God, I have to admit that God's there. So I was finally starting to get over that in 2003. Fast forward 5 years, my mom passed away. 2008, she got she had allergic reactions to medication, put into a basically burn unit in a medically induced coma for 30 days. That was in 2007, 2008, and or 2008, 2009 rather, and it was one of those times where it's like angry again. I was finally getting over my dad's passing, then I got that, and I was so I was still angry. But I had a little more faith. I mean, I knew something existed. A couple years, no, right after my mom passed away, my wife fell, broke her leg. Now she's in the power chair regularly. She went and did Mary Kay. This is where it gets good. If you know anything about Mary Kay, their view is God first, family second, career third.
Oh, cool.
So very Christian focused company. And one of her Mary Kay sisters challenged me to listen to Christian music she challenged me to read the Bible in 90 days. I laughed. One, I don't read. I can, I just don't. And then the Bible in 90 days, not a chance. But I did know there was a thing called with K-Love that had a 30-day challenge to listen to Christian music. So I'm like, can I listen to the Christian music for 90 days? She said, why not? That was January 2011. Now it's what? October, well, it's technically November 2023, 12 years later, coming on 13 years. I think it kind of worked. I think I made the 90-day challenge.
Wow.
And then there's if you're a Winter Jam. I know Jared knows a Winter Jam. Do you know Winter Jam?
Winter Jam.
Mitchell? You know, Winter Jam was
there.
Oh, we'll take
it's
you.
It's the best.
Okay, we will take you out to Des Moines with your church. We will go.
Oh, yeah. Winter Jam's the best. You will love it.
Yeah, and those, I know Jared knows the band Red, and they were playing. And they do heavy metal. And I was like, I looked at my wife and I go, if this is Christian, I can do this. And then also there was KJ52, this Christian hip hop. Now at the time, his stuff he was doing was very funny stuff, all about Mountain Dew and this funny gimmicky stuff. And I'm like, if this is Christian hip hop, this isn't good. So I looked him up, to see what it was, and he did a song with Lecrae. Lecrae's pretty big out there. And he did this song, They Like Me. And there was the difference between and all that. And I was like, I like this. And I got hooked into Christian hip hop. And that was that. And it's been going that way. And then the soul wasn't saved yet. I'm trying to make it quick. There's a long story.
You take your time.
Yeah. 2 years later, 2000. It was 2014. 3 years later. Basically, we lost everything. I ended up, long story short, I ended up in Houston, Texas, or Humboldt, Texas, where my wife was. And that's where I got baptized. And I always said, when I come to God, you're going to know. The skies are going to light up. It's going to be lightning, thunder, and it's going to pour down rain. And it's going to happen. You're going to know when I come to Christ. You're going to know. And we're in Humboldt, Texas. It wasn't raining. And we couldn't fill up the little trough thing to do the baptism. Then all of a sudden, a big storm rolls in, fills that thing up in 3 minutes. And I go, well, I guess we could go do the baptism. And he's like, pastor's like, no, he's Jamaican. He goes, and then he's like, you can do this. And all of a sudden, there's a big bolt of lightning into metal trough. He goes, we'll wait, Brother Jason, we'll wait. I go, oh, no, we can do this. We got God. He's on our side. He's like, no. Let's be smart. Let's not go in there. So we waited for the lightning and thunder to declare. And I got baptized. That was 2014. And we lost everything.
That's awesome.
Literally lost everything. Couch surfing, all that. Eventually end up in Galesburg, Illinois for a while. And one thing led to another. The hospital that she worked at closed. She went back to traveling last year. August of last year, we were out in North Carolina for a bit. Next calling was to come to Iowa, Burlington, Iowa. Here we are. And met up with Mitchell. Jared was in there with the ministry. I have time for all that too. That started in 2000. That was 7 years ago. So that was 2016 when that started. I think Jared and I hooked up probably 4 years ago. Probably
something like that.
Yeah, pre-COVID. I know that.
Yeah, it was pre-China virus.
Pre-China virus. He's gonna get us banned. But I just can't believe the atheist, Jew, all that, white kids doing this. Look what God did, So.
Hey, ain't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
But then he take you from all that and now you're here with two other dudes on a live show on a radio page. How cool is that?
Yeah.
I love the little God winks you had
The God winks, like which
in,
ones?
in your testimony. It's like you literally had the courage enough. You literally had the courage to ask God or whoever, just like show me something, anything, and
Yeah.
he was. I mean, the and I love that. I love that about our God is that he will answer. He will. You just have
Hmm.
to be willing to and be
Yeah.
quiet enough to listen and not put expectations. But I loved your testimony and Jared's testimony. I love how it's so similar to what he does in my own life is that he takes this something that seems like nothing and just amazing things with it. He just turns it into something beautiful. And he gives our life a purpose to reach out to people. And I mean, right now, like, we were talking with Jared, we may only have like one person or two people listening, but those two people could go forward and maybe inspire somebody or touch somebody's life
Hey,
and they plant
Hmm.
seeds. You never know and never discount like anyone's story and the importance of a life. Because I remember it being from a old Disney Christian movie. It's like the importance a rock at the bottom of a mountain never sees the top isn't as less important than it is than the rock at the top of the mountain. Or a single thread in a tapestry doesn't see its position in the grand design, but it doesn't make it any less important.
Hmm.
And I just love that God uses everyone, everyone.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and it's they said, look at the three of us. I mean, there's three completely different backgrounds, um,
amen.
and just all for the same good, same cause. And they said, and like you said, you ask, and he will answer. And sometimes when you're wanting, you ask for you ask, and he'll give you the answer. And if you don't like the answer, he'll still confirm the answer.
Yeah,
And then you ask again, and he confirms the answer again. And that's one of those, did I stutter? And he keeps giving the answer.
yeah,
I've had that happen. I'm like, I guess what we're doing. And he stays consistent. He was like, well, hold on, let me change the answer. So the answer is going to be the same. And he'll tell
yeah.
you, and if you want to be, if he wants you to be somewhere at a certain time, he'll get you there,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
regardless. Even if you're kicking and screaming, he'll get you there.
So, so, so here's a story for you. Um, so did y'all? I don't think Mitchell did, but Jason, did you see my story about me smoking a deer?
Yes. Well,
Okay,
smoking,
so
hitting a deer, not smoking. You didn't light it on fire.
yeah, smoking it is in going fast and just smooth run over the deer. I smoked him. Uh, so I tell you the story on that for those that don't know. So a few weeks ago, I was at started my new announcing job on the weekend at Tri County Speedway up there, and I was still at the racetrack talking with my friend Isaiah, and we was all talking. It was two or three of us talking, and Mr. Ike and Jamie and them. So my buddy Mr. Ike, his son Jamie races, which is a good friend of mine, and then our friend Jacob Gregory races also, and two different classes. And so they had already left, and Ike called me two or three times. I missed it, and then I called him back, and he said, "Hey Jared, where you at?" I said, "Well, I'm still at the racetrack." And so I leave, and he said, "Hey, we're up here at the Whataburger over here in Bruton, which is probably 10, 15 minutes down the road from there." And so I said, "Okay, I'll meet y'all there." So I stopped at a gas station, then went to Whataburger, met them there. We got done, and it was Jamie in his truck. Mr. Ike was with him, his dad, and then Cuz, our friend Jason. And so it's three of them in there. And so we get right outside of Bruton, and it's little country roads all the way back to Clark County. And so there's as soon as you leave Bruton, there's a road that forks. It's got two lanes on this side and one laying on the other side. So I go ahead and pass Jamie because he's got a big diesel truck pulling a race car trailer with a race car inside the trailer. So I go ahead and I went ahead and passed him because I know he don't like people riding behind him when he's come back from the races because he drives a little slower than normal. And so so I went ahead and passed him. I set my cruise on 60, and all of a sudden I look over and I see a bunch of deer on the side of the road, and like two of them dart out, and one of them darts out in front of me, and I slam on brakes. And when I slammed on brakes, I was probably going 50 at that point, and I smoked that deer. I mean, I hit it as hard, bam, run over the deer, and pulled over on the side of the road. And the strangest thing, I had this old redneck dude stop, and a little bitty pickup truck. Now this is funny. And Jamie pulls up down the road and pulls over on the side of the road and calls me and says, "Hey, are you okay?" I said, "Man, I just hit this deer. I was going pretty decent little speed. I wasn't speeding, but I mean I smoked this deer." And then he says, "Well, you okay?" I said, "Yeah, but I finna get out and couldn't find my phone, so I just hung up because I was on Bluetooth." And this guy pulls up in this little red pickup truck, and the guy asked me a question, and I don't remember what he asked me, but what stuck with me was the second question he asked me. He says, "Hey, do you want this deer?" And I said, "No, I don't want this deer." Now, mind you, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. And then he asked me one more time. He said, "You sure you don't want this deer?" I said, "Look, I'm sure I don't want this deer. I like eating deer meat, but I don't want to get it this way." And then plus I had no way to clean it. I wasn't nowhere near there, because I live an hour and 20 minutes away. And so, and then this guy looks over there and he sees Jamie pulled over on the side of the road, and he didn't know he was my buddy. He just saw a truck and trailer pulled over, and he says, "Hey, you reckon he wants this deer?" And I said, "No, I don't think he wants this deer either." And so about that time, Jamie starts walking towards us and has a little headlamp on. And the guy asked me again. The guy asked me, he said, "Hey, you got a flashlight on your phone? Can I borrow your phone?" And I said, "Well, I got to find my phone first, because when I slammed on brakes, it went flying somewhere in my truck."
Mm-hmm.
And then as Jamie's walking towards us, he starts talking to Jamie, and Jamie's looking over, and we're looking at plastic pieces in the road where it destroyed the front of my truck. And the guy says, "Hey, any of y'all got a flashlight?" And then Jamie says, "Well, no, but I got my little headlamp here." And so they find the deer. Deer's still alive. Guy tries to end it with two knives and didn't work. Deer's still alive. He tried it again. Finally got it. And then he says, "Hey, can y'all help me load this deer?" And by this point, I'm like, "Do what?" And then so Jamie helps him load the deer, and he says, "Look, I don't want to get blood in my truck, so I'll grab this end. You grab the other end." So they load the deer, and then the guy tells us, he says, "Hey, I think I'm gonna call my uncle and ask him if he wants his deer." And I said, "What?" I said, "Okay." And then he said, "I don't need a deer. I just got one that was 175 pounds." But he says, "I'm gonna call my uncle." Well, sure enough, he calls his uncle. This is like 12:30 in the morning. Wakes his uncle up, I guess. he straight up asked him. He says, "Hey, do you want this deer? I had a guy hit a deer over here, and so and so." Apparently, he wanted it, and he told us thanks for helping him load the deer. And the guy drives off. I'm like, "Okay, bye, see ya." I was not expecting some redneck dude to ask me. I thought I was redneck country, but no, this guy was he was beyond me. I laughed at that, and so Jamie laughed at that, and then he said, "All right, well," he said, "I want you to just go ahead and go in front." Well, the deer hit me so hard that it knocked my headlight where my headlight's facing down like this, and on the driver's side, it broke a bunch of plastic pieces. And then I got to posting on Facebook like the next day or so, and this lady named Deborah who I know just from Facebook mostly, but she lives a few hours from me in Pensacola, and she commented and she said something about because I made a post about hitting a deer or whatever. She's like, "Well, I'm glad you're okay." I said, "Man, I'm thankful to God, I'm okay." But the story I got to share from that is she got to saying some stuff on two or three different posts of mine that it clicked with me. I said, "Well, maybe I was that was supposed because I always say everything happens for a reason." So I think I was supposed to pass him and hit that deer. As stupid as it sounds, I think that deer was meant to hit me because if it would have hit him, it would have messed. It would have been a bloody mess because that truck and trailer, race car, and then plus the three guys that were in the truck, that would have been really bad. That I would have been behind him, and that could have killed me. So I tell people, I say, I really believe that God put that deer there to hit me. And you know what? The devil wanted me mad at God because I ain't gonna lie, I wanted to cry when my truck got hit. Because anybody that knows me, I love my truck, man.
Yeah.
Like I wash it every single Sunday, every week I can. And I wanted to cry so bad when it destroyed the front of my truck because I didn't want to have to buy no new parts, no nothing. And instead of me getting mad, I kind of prayed, and instead of me getting mad at God, I just tell people, well, that was supposed to happen. I was supposed to hit it because it could have been real bad if I didn't hit it. And then somebody else said something too and said, well, that guy that pulled over, well, you fed a family with that deer. I said, well, I reckon so. Hey, but that's that. I know it's a long story, but that's what I wanted to share about
Yeah.
because everything happens for a reason, and I feel like I was supposed to be there at that time, and the devil wants people to get angry with God at situations, but that didn't work. I mean, I basically gave him a Chuck Norris roundhouse kick, and he went the other way.
Yeah. Yeah. So they said you never know how God has that planned out for us to put you in the way of someone or in some things that happen, knowing you can handle it because it would be worse if it was someone else. So I have a
Yeah,
similar too.
and
Yeah.
like me and Mr. Ike were talking about. I told him a few days later that's what I thought it was meant to happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Well, it could have been. Who knows?" I said, "That I'm just gonna roll with that story."
Yeah.
So,
But
I was saying in 2011 when I first started listening to the Christian music at that point. But a couple weeks later, I was going to donate plasma, and I was going to. It was winter time. It's January. It's the Quad Cities, and I didn't want to take my van, which was parked outside because it was all full of ice and snow. So I took my wife's van, which was a wheelchair accessible van. Um, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna take that. It's in the garage. I don't have to deal with that. So I took her van, and I went driving down. No, to go donate my plasma, and I went through right through a school zone, and I went through an intersection right 2 blocks away, and at that point I got hit almost head on. My car
ooh,
was blowing. Basically, she was blowing the red light, and I got almost hit head on at 45 miles an hour. Spun me around,
wow,
ended up in a snowbank, walked out with basically a sore finger and some whiplash. But 2 blocks away behind me was a school zone with all the kids out there. I was like, I was put in place to protect those kids because she wasn't paying attention. She was on her phone, going 45, 50 miles an hour, blowing stoplights, not paying attention. You think she would have been slowing down for those kids? Maybe I was put in place to protect those kids, you know.
wow.
Um, but my wife was upset at first with her.
I,
Go ahead. Did you freeze?
Huh?
There. Um, and then she was upset about her me using her van. But if I would have used my van, she would run right up over me more than likely, and I would have actually ended up killed or maimed with that accident. So me using her van was actually a godsend. He's like, oh, but he put me in place with that van to protect those kids.
Wow, that's a cool story.
Yeah, and I wasn't even in the faith
Yeah.
yet. People are like, oh, he'll use you when you're in the faith. Oh, you don't have to.
Wow.
He'll use you even if you're not. You know, I was an
That
unbeliever. I
He'll
ordered
use
some
you
mustard
wherever
seeds.
you
Hmm?
go. I was always taught, and your guys' stories have reminded me of that. It's like whenever you get stopped at a stoplight and you're late to go someplace,
Mm-hmm.
I was taught that it's God had a reason for you to be stopped at that stoplight, or He had a reason for you to be ahead. You know, He's always got a reason why, even if you can't see it. And not only did you guys get the chance to be used by God, but you also had a chance to be, God just basically showed it, like this is Him using you. And
Yeah.
and it's just boggles my mind. It's like that you guys got to save lives. You got to save lives inadvertently, but you got to be used to save lives
Mm-hmm.
or keep people from getting hurt.
Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder how many times God literally takes a situation that seems horrible to us or an accident or benign, and he uses it to help others, or he uses it to save us. It's amazing. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Wow, that's awesome. I like the way you think.
Yeah. Yeah. I said, we've only known each other a couple months here, and it's like I found my people. There's a similar thinking, which is good and bad. You know, we think similarly.
Yeah.
But he's used you to save people too. I mean, I'm not going to put all your information out there, but like you were saying about how you know you were taking care with your grandparents and stuff that raised you. I mean, you did a lot of work with that. I mean, that was you had a purpose there. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, nursing home possibly. And so you're an angel sent too for that. So don't downplay that at all either, because that's not easy. You know, to do that kind of stuff either. You know, so we all have a purpose.
Oh,
Whatever.
and they had so much to teach me, even when they got older. My grandfather, even when the cancer spread throughout his body, he still drove me some places because I was a little scared kid who didn't want to drive any place. Now I love driving. Now, if I'm ever upset, God says, "Why don't you go for a drive?" I always go for a drive. It calms me down. And I remember my grandfather. He told me, "You're gonna love driving when you get used to it," and he was right. And he was just always there, even when he at his sickest. And my grandma, the best cook her entire life. Even when she got older, she kept teaching me all new recipes, and I'm so thankful I got them in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
man, and you guys are allowing me to go back in memory lane here and see how God was really good to me.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you look back and you see that, and you see the seeds that were planted and how what he's utilized, and you're like, wow. You know, once again, back to the 4 words. Look what God did. You know, like, you know, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. We are creeping up here on the 50-minute mark, so we got about 10 minutes.
Oh, snap. Okay. I'm seeing that. Okay, I'm seeing that I'm tagged, but the live video was shared for only me could see it. I'm glad I saw that, so now I got it set to where my friends can see that we're live.
And you're frozen on our end.
So why did it? So I wonder why it did that.
Facebook does. It's just a Facebook thing they've started doing. I've noticed that on some ones I've done before too. It does that.
Oh man, this whole time I could have had people on my friends list tuning in. I shared it, but now, okay, well now I know next time we do this to make sure that I go and change my privacy setting to where friends can see it.
Yeah, and it's a Facebook thing that they've got into lately. I've had
Golly, man, they trying to suppress us.
Good luck with that.
So we're coming up on that 50-minute mark. Like I said, I was going to try to keep it at the 1 hour mark because it is 9:30 and I got to be up early tomorrow at 4:00. So, but try to keep it at the hour mark. It also fits better in programming on the radio station when I put this on there. So it's going to fit better in a 1 hour slot than like hour and 38 minutes.
So while you're live, tell everybody about the radio station, where they can listen. We need listeners to the radio
I
station.
have a marketing guy for that. We pay you big bucks for that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So look, okay, so everybody can go. Everybody can. So Chuck Norris says go download the Live 365 app, type in Quake Radio, or you can go to the website. It's Live365 slash Quake Radio or something like that.
365.com/Quake Radio. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. And so everybody go in there. We play Christian rock music, underground Christian rap music, and then we do play a little bit of stuff like Jordan Felice and stuff like that. Your K-Love type stuff too.
Yeah, and Facebook. We're at Facebook at Quake RYC Productions or Quake RYC Radio. We have a couple spots on Facebook. We're on YouTube. On the bottom is actually scrolling the player app on there, but for Live 365. I think we're on TuneIn. I don't know where else we're at. A couple of spots. But the main thing we do here, honestly, is outreach ministry. This is part of the outreach ministry part, but also like concerts and stuff like that. The radio station is just the tip of the iceberg. My calling is mainly for like concerts and outreach and going to the communities and doing that kind of stuff. Doing shows in Burlington, Iowa, which I kind of did one earlier. But I've partnered with like the Extreme Tour. They come through Galesburg. They did their third year this year. Next year will be fourth year. God willing, we'll get it 1.5 years in Burlington if it doesn't get rained out like it did this year. Trying to get that set up. No, if you don't know about the Extreme Tour, there are a bunch of musicians that go around city to city, East Coast, West Coast, Canada, and Europe, and they share the gospel basically on their own dime. And they do music from hip hop to metal, contemporary, folk, all kinds of stuff. They actually have a group from Japan that actually has been on tour with them too.
Oh wow!
But all they ask when they come to the city, they ask for a little donation if they can help cover their costs for expenses for their van and trailer and all the equipment. But also they ask for housing and food from the church. So we've been.
So maybe.
Go ahead.
Maybe next year, if you of course you get to do the Extreme Tour again, maybe they'll let you do a live broadcast and interview some people for the radio artist or.
Yeah, we can't. I asked about that for this year. Basically, we could do it like play it on the radio station possibly, but they don't really want to do a live stream out to like a YouTube and then people won't show up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not necessarily. I'm just talking about through the radio, not live stream, Facebook. Just a radio interview to get people listening. Hey, I need to come out there to the Extreme Tour because they're live on this station. This is good music they play.
Yeah, I want to get terrestrial stations and local so people can actually hear it as they're scanning through their channels on the radio. People do that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I do.
You have an older truck, so you probably have an older radio that you can do that with.
FM stations are awesome.
But so this is going to be a. Jared, I apologize you weren't in the conversation, but we're looking at probably doing every other week, every other Wednesday.
Okay.
So like we got today. It was the first of the month. And then like the 15th and 29th. So every other Wednesday about 8:30, we're going to try to do this. Different topics, that kind of stuff. We may have a guest here and there that comes in. But in general, this is going to be every other Wednesday at 8:30. If that's okay with you, Jared.
Oh yeah, that's cool with me. This is fun.
Oh,
yeah, this is fun with a capital F.
As long as there's a capital F and not a capital FU. It's a whole different concept. Anyone have any last minute ideas, topics they want to talk about for next week, or last words you want to say on this week's?
If anybody's got any prayers, y'all can reach out to each one of us on here. If you got any prayer requests, or you can post them in the comments there, and we'll pray for you. And so, a question before we go is, I know Jason's heard this, and I believe, but what do you call Jesus working out?
I'm afraid.
I'm not sure what.
Jehovah Fitness.
I didn't need that answer, but I didn't want to give him.
Dad joke of the day.
Well, let's end this with a Chuck Norris joke then. So
Okay.
got a line of those.
The best Chuck Norris joke I've heard here lately is a new one. It said Chuck Norris can gargle peanut butter.
Oh man.
Okay.
I don't know how that's possible, but hey, he can do it.
Oh no.
Man, that's good. You got anything at the end here, Mitchell? I can't follow up with that.
No, it's like all my dad jokes are pretty peaceful. It's like, where does a penguin keep their cash? In a snowbank.
In a snowbank.
See?
That's a knee slapper right there.
I don't have any jokes right now. I always get them when I don't need. They come to me at 3 a.m. usually when I'm about ready to get up.
So what do you call a bear with no ears?
What?
Bah.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's the show, folks.
We'll end it on that. Wow. I'm tired. It's late. But I do appreciate you guys coming on this. Three Wise Men premiere show. I will see you, Mitchell, on Thursday. No, Friday. Friday? I don't know. A couple days.
Y'all have fun at work.
Yeah. And Jared, one time we'll bring you out to Burlington, Iowa.
Okay.
We'll bring you out here in the cold so you can experience winter.
Oh, yeah, real winter up there. It gets like -40.
Yeah, we'll bring you up when it's really cold. Really cold.
And then it gets negative. Then it gets up in the 80s for no reason.
Yeah. So we'll be doing this every other Wednesday. The next one will be episode 2, and that'll be on the 15th. We're gonna do that. So I'm gonna hit the end stream, which will end the show. We'll still be here, be able to talk, but I will go ahead and end the stream. So we appreciate everybody that's been watching, everyone that's clicked the like and love button, heart button, whatever you call that thing. Feel free to watch, comment on there, leave notes for us on YouTube and our Facebook. Soon we may be on TikTok at some point. I have a connection there somehow. We'll see. So
nice.
Until next time, y'all have a good day and a blessed rest of your week.